You know, I sat down with Dr. Roby Mitchell. I love this. Dr. Roby Mitchell and Dr. John Trowbridge a short time ago. And we talked about prostate, we talked about antifungals, we talked about garlic. Just sitting down with those two guys are amazing. Trowbridge is an MD, Mitchell is an MD, PhD. Brilliant guys. Later in the show, Dr. Lee Cowden, a cardiologist, is going to be on and teaching us to empower ourselves to own our own health, okay? Nurse Jenny is going to be here today to talk a little bit about cancer. And then in the middle of today's show, I watched something on TV and I thought, you got to be kidding. That many people have incontinence? I want to talk a little bit about that, folks. I didn't know that constipation could make you incontinent, bladder leakage, all that and more on today's Know the Cause. My name is Doug Kaufman. For the past 40 years, I've dedicated my life and even my career to finding the root cause of disease. Join me in a team of physicians, pharmacists, and scientists, and soon you too will know the cause. So I opened a walnut the other day, and it looks just like a brain. I mean, it's the most fascinating thing to stand there and look at. It came out intact, right? Not a hemisphere, it was a whole sphere. What is it? I'm here with two men I respect so much. Gosh, if I seem tall, giant to you, it's because I've stood on the shoulders of real giants. And it's these guys. Dr. John Trowbridge, I've known 40 years, 20 years. I've known Dr. Roby Mitchell. Amazing doctors that don't follow the same road that all doctors do. Good, respected guys, got lots of people hanging around them, but they learned from their patients, from grandmas and so forth, and that's where I think we ought to start, with your grandma. They've learned things, and they've held on to this information and guarded it their whole careers. Grandma helped grandpa. Not with a walnut, but have you ever looked at a walnut, how much it looks like?
Like a brain?
Yeah.
Right, or if you look at that Swiss chard, right, that
that's
vein
exactly
complex,
right.
It looks just like, what's inside your body.
Yeah.
But granddad developed high blood pressure, right, and she treated him with garlic, right, and I had no idea at the time.
How old were you then?
I was very young, maybe 8, 9, 10 years old, but then, of course, went on to medical school and so forth. But that stuff was considered, archaic, anecdotal, folk medicine, that type of thing. Not sophisticated, and brainy, like I came to be with my MD, PhD degree, But as, you and I got to be associated, and I found out about the Candida, and I started doing that program. I found that when I treated people with that antifungal program, not only did the thing that I was treating them get better, but so many other things got better, right? And I kept trying to figure that out, right? And so as I read literature, and I got this from you also, that aspirin was an antifungal, right? I found that out. You just mentioned that as an aside one day. And so as I'm just a voluminous reader, right? And it doesn't matter what, I'll read napkins. But I've got that big library, medical library there, And Friday nights, instead of going out on dates, I sit there and read in the library. So one of the things that I was coming out of the medical literature was this confluence of outcomes between statin drugs and aspirin, right? They had a lot of the same medical outcomes, right? Reduction in Alzheimer's, reduction in colon cancer, and so forth. But when you read, what we were taught is that statins worked one way and aspirin worked another way, right? But here I see they were having the same exact kind of results. I said, I wonder if they're related, right? And so knowing that what you had said, that aspirin was an antifungal, I thought, well, could statins be an antifungal, right? And so what I did is a very eloquent experiment that I hope that I can get some 8th grader or high school kid, to do and win the science fair with. I took diflucan, right, as a positive control. I used water as a negative control. I took aspirin. I took the 3 statins, so Mevacor, Lipitor, Zocor, Lipitor, and Crestor. That's their order of potency, right? And I plated out all of these in Candida Petri dishes, right? And put all those things in to see what zone of clearance, right? And the more powerful something is an antifungal, then the bigger that circle will be, right? Now the diflucan, right, cleared it out, of course, and we would expect that because diflucan is an antifungal. With the water, completely white.
Yep.
The yeast just grew, right? With the aspirin, again, aspirin's an antifungal, right? That's the reason that it does all that stuff, not because it thins your blood.
Takes your pain away.
It's because it's an antifungal, right? And then with the Zocor, Lipitor, Crestor, bump, bump, bump.
Antifungal.
Turns out that the first viable statin, lovastatin, taken directly from nature, right? From red yeast rice.
That's right.
Right? Why is red yeast rice doesn't have cholesterol? Why is it making an anti-cholesterol medicine? Because it's trying to protect itself from fungus, right? That's how statins work. It's not because they lower cholesterol, it's because they are antifungals.
Yeah, and you wrote a book called The Yeast Syndrome, so you probably don't buy this at all.
No, not at all. Because that's just kind of wacko.
Yeah, right.
And you got to be very careful not to buy into things that might not help people. You know?
So you'll prescribe the statin drugs. You know what I love about you guys? You're both tinkerers.
Yes.
I remember all the Petri dishes, you brought in all. You don't accept something because someone told either of you.
Right.
Because you and I have shared, forever. Once I sit down with these guys, they go out and say, good, Doug, okay, shake my hand, off you go, and then you begin testing things. Right. That's the way you are in your clinics also. That's these kids with these horrible, teach me quickly in 30 seconds, hydrochloric acid. I am enamored.
Hydrochloric acid, again, is what I call the Passover molecule. If you got making plenty of hydrochloric acid, you don't get sick, right, with the pestilence. We have to produce that in 33 million times the pH of your arterial blood every time you eat. If you don't, then not only do you not absorb vitamins and minerals and amino acids and so forth, you get yeast overgrowth. That yeast overgrowth, and then your immune system reacts to that, and then we got all kinds of problems depending on your genetics, whether it's Alzheimer's or heart disease or diabetes or skin rashes or whatever, right? All of those are manifestations of the same thing.
Dr. Trowbridge, simple stuff?
Simple stuff. But think of it like this. If you put gasoline in your car, where can you go? Anywhere. So if you have hydrochloric acid in your gut, all these things can get better. Because it's not a simple A and B. It's A and everything else.
So it's not just Dallas. You can go anywhere with gas in your car. Wow.
And most of medical care is very specific. You got that, we do this. But when you start dealing with the biochemistry inside people, everything can change.
See, and this bridges the thing then with my grandmother. So it tells us how she got my grandfather well, because what is garlic? It's an antifungal, right? That allicin that's in there. The black seed oil that we promote, it's antifungal. It is the antifungal. All the fruits and vegetables and so forth, the plants, they live in an environment of fungus, right? They've either got to produce a bark or a shell or a hull. They got to produce something and protect themselves from fungus, or they got to produce chemicals. The ones that produce the most potent antifungal chemicals, we call them medicine, right?
Thank you. I pity, when I see these ads on television, I do from time to time watch the late news, about incontinence, bladder leakage, and there's never a guy, it's always women who have bladder incontinence. But recently somebody told me they saw an ad with men in it, real men, who have bladder leakage. Look, this is a problem. It's really a problem. And they say when you achoo, or you cough or you laugh hard, that your bladder can leak. Okay, first of all, it's named wrong. Let's take a look at this. Maybe I can offer you some help. Bladder leakage. WebMD suggests, here's what a medical and a pharmaceutical website suggest. We'll use the right absorbent products, take care of your skin. What? Bladder leakage, take care of your skin. Okay, minimize odors, carry extra clothing, and stay sensibly hydrated. I go to a website because I want resolve, right? I don't want this problem anymore. Look, Doug, I got it. I have to wear special underwear. I don't really like it. I'd prefer it weren't there. Well, let's check this out here and see what is going on. Understand, folks, here's the ticker. Here's the heart. When pressurized, the heart and blood vessels must work harder. This is an indwelling pump. It's a circulating pump in your body. All the arteries and the veins and the capillaries and so forth. High blood pressure can cause a stroke. Strokes may be caused by an obstruction to blood flow or the rupture of an artery. That's because there's no natural opening for the blood to escape, right? It's all internal. You don't want a hole in your heart to let some of the blood out. But you do in your bladder, and it's called a urethra. You don't measure a person's bladder pressure, you measure a person's blood pressure, right? Let's keep going. When pressurized, the bladder has a natural opening. We all do. It's called the urethra. Instead of bulging, the pressure is released through the urethra. It's not bladder leakage, it's never been. It's urethral leakage. The bladder doesn't leak because the urethra opens the floodgate number one. Okay, so understand what I'm trying to say here, folks. We measure blood pressure because that's the pressure this guy right here pushes. Maybe 120 over what, 78 is normal for that boom, 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 boom. But all of a sudden you got a little atherosclerosis, some plaque building up in some of the major arteries, and now the heart has to push harder because that opening was like this, and now it's like that, a little tiny opening. So now your heart has to take on the duty of two hearts. Boom, 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 boom. You go and you lay your arm down in the doctor's office, and boy, the nurse says, whoa, 220 over 100? Stay here, don't move. I'm gonna send the doctor in. Folks, I've always said that I would take, if my blood pressure were that high, and I don't know what it is, from time to time I end up buying tissue or something or a card at a CVS pharmacy, and they have a little blood pressure thing, and I'll measure mine. It seems to be okay because I exercise a lot, and thank God I got a good ticker. But when the heart has to push harder, blood pressure, the pressure on the heart, rises. But there's no escape for that blood. There is for the bladder. It's called the urethra. Okay, now let's see what's going on here. Why is your urethra leaking? Because of swelling or pressure around your bladder. Look at this. Constipation, did you ever think of that, folks? Your body is so amazingly made. When you get constipated, let's say you go a week without your bowels moving, the bladder sits down here. The colon is behind it. As it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and filled with debris, it puts pressure on your bladder and then you leak. So those of you with bladder leakage, are you really constipated? Sounds like time for Poop Doc. You know, great product that has helped thousands and thousands of you. Bladder infections can cause leakage. Okay, why are you getting a bladder infection? That's a whole nother show. Alcohol, duh, don't drink. Caffeine, stop drinking it. Decaffeinated tea and coffee, I don't know where they get this information. Carbonated drinks, totally believe. Artificial sweeteners, believe. Corn syrup, total believer. Foods that are high in spice, I don't know. Sugar or acid, especially citrus fruits, heart and blood pressure medications, duh. Are you on heart or blood pressure medications, sedatives, can't sleep well, and muscle relaxants, or large doses of vitamins B and C? I'm not the guy who's going to tell you to stop taking vitamin B and C. Your doctor may, but I'm not the guy. I think this makes total sense. If you're drinking a lot of alcohol, and I define that, is by a drink a couple times a week. Any more than that, bladder leakage might be the simplest of your health problems. Be careful with alcohol, be careful with medications, be certainly careful of corn syrup, okay? I hope that helps if you have incontinence. Folks, you can go to YouTube and watch these two 90-plus-year-old guys run the 100-yard dash. I have never been so excited in my life. Are we too old sometimes to exercise? Kyle Drew says no. Watch this.
Help, 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 I am too old to begin. I can't change, I'm just too advanced in years. Help, 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 I'm too sick. I can't change, I have too many symptoms. Guys, you've got to give up this attitude. There is an attitude, please remember, as a person thinks in their heart, so are they. That was in a best-selling book written thousands of years ago, and it is eternally true for you and me today. I am asking you to please give up the attitude that, I can't change. Well, you know what? You can change a little bit, can't you? Maybe you can just give up the soda. Or maybe you can just add a berry smoothie to your breakfast regimen. I'm too sick. Well, maybe after talking to your doctor, you can just add a supplement here and there and work with your doctor to maybe come off of a medication. Don't do it without your physician, but by little changes, tiny, tiny steps, you can advance your way to fantastic health, feeling better. I've seen it in people of all ages. In fact, some of the most dramatic turnarounds I've ever found have been with people who have been extremely sick or extremely advanced in years. That can be you, but you have to start today. You can do it.
You know, in my youth, I used to do a lot of push-ups. I mean, I get to 15, 16, 17, and I'm still holding the same breath. Wrong, says Daniel. Watch this.
Hello, Know the Cause Nation. I'm Daniel Crouch with your Lifestyle Moment. Did you know that 80% of your toxins are released through your breath? Think about that for a second. Only 20% is released through your urination, defecation, perspiration. But 80% of the bad stuff that I want out goes through my lungs. So how does that apply to exercise? How do I breathe when I exercise? What do I think about when I exercise? Great questions. Give me like a minute and I'll answer them. So, as you're doing any exercise, let's use an example of a lunge today, okay? Get into my perfect posture, okay? And what I want to do is I want to use my breath for the hard part, okay? So I'm going to inhale, and the hard part is the up and down. So I'm going to go, gather the breath and expel it, express it during the hard part. Humor me for a second and just hold your breath while you're exercising. It's hard, it's difficult. I want to go ahead and ride the wave of my breath as I'm doing something more difficult. Now, each major breath that I took that I expressed out was like taking the trash out. So if you can do 20 reps, you've taken the trash out 20 times. And the other advantage that you've done is as you've taken the trash out, your body automatically fills the lungs up with the good, clean, fresh. And why is oxygen so important? I know we all know, but why really is it important? Because every breath I take comes in and oxygenates my entire body. You don't think your brain needs oxygen? I mean, imagine holding your breath, you pass out. So if you oxygenate, you're gonna feel good, you're gonna feel alive, you're gonna feel alert. So when you're exercising, remember, use your breath for a positive purpose. If this was a push-up, the hard part, use the breath that you've stored up, and that's how you get the most out of exercise and also clean yourself in the process. Come check us out next time. We're always going to have some great tips that are highly effective to help you in your life. I'm Daniel Crouch for Know the Cause Lifestyle Moment.
Dr. Lee Cowden, my good buddy of many years, joins me right now. Many, many years ago, I put a business plan together. It took me a long time because I'm not that highly organized. But it was for a center called Nutri-Nurse. Mm-hmm. These were going to be centers, like now you can go into a pharmacy and there's a nurse to give you a shot or check your ears and throat and so forth and then prescribe an antibiotic. This was different. This was a registered nurse or an LVN who would see you and then talk to you within the realm of your illness being a body that's out of sync. Right. Along comes, your academy, the Academy of Comprehensive Integrative Medicine, and you're doing that. But you're doing more than that because you stole my idea of Nutri-Nurse and you turned it into a global wellness network. Yeah. Tell us what you're doing with that.
Yeah, well, the Global Wellness Care Centers are a group of clinics across the country that are going to meet the patient at their perceived point of need. So if they have a chronic disease, then that's where they meet them. If they're fairly healthy but want to get healthier, we're going to meet them at that place. And our goal is to get everybody where they're very, very healthy and never have disease.
That's going to cut into the supply there. What's medicine? I've always said this, Dr. Cowden. Medicine is currently a $3 trillion business. And if you own a $3 trillion business, you want it to become what? A $4 trillion business. So you need more people. What he's saying here is back off. We have more power than we're aware when it comes to getting and staying well. This academy that came about so many years ago, ACIM Connect, ACIM as in mother, connect.com. Was your brainchild, you and a couple of people?
Yeah, a couple of other people. Yeah.
And now it's come to fruition so that you have a scientific board. You're the chairman of that.
Right.
But it's really looking good. The journals are online. You can read those. I mean, you've done a lot of work.
Yeah. We have a peer-reviewed journal called the Journal of Comprehensive Integrative Medicine. And we're always soliciting for new articles. So if any of your listeners are article writers, we will entertain that. Good. But we have for a long time had the virtual education online, but now we have the ability to have what I call the brick and mortar education. You can only learn so much online. Then you have to actually take your, roll your sleeves up and get into it.
Dig in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now this is going to be a place, one thing I love that Dr. Cowden and the team has done here, it's empowered us to help others. We can go ahead and get certified. Do you certify a person online? So you got to take classes,
Right.
go through classes, pass tests and so forth, and become certified as a...
As a certified comprehensive wellness coach if you have no degrees or licenses.
Okay.
You know, if you're a doctor, then you'll become a certified comprehensive healthcare practitioner.
Okay, good, because he's already a healthcare practitioner.
Right.
Now he's learning about comprehensive,
Right.
integrative medicine. Okay,
Right.
What does that enable me to do? Let's say I'm one of those, I've gone through a couple year courses online, and I'm now ready to go. Can I go knock on a doctor's office and say, listen, I think you guys need me to come in here and help with this patient load. I can help with diet, supplements, et cetera. Will it enable us to go that far?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think it's best to do this under the guidance of a licensed practitioner, so that you can, you know, not be hanging out there bare, if you will, but also get some direction from that practitioner who's also involved in the patient care. And so then the patient is the one that benefits, because the amount of money that's paid out to the wellness coach is a lot less than the amount that we paid out to the doctor for doing the same service.
See, that's exciting. Now, how can I find a global wellness center currently? Is it on your website?
Yeah, we will have that on the website very shortly. There's only a couple of facilities that are going now, and soon more to be started.
Dr. Lee Cowden is a cardiologist. He now is traveling all over the world teaching this comprehensive integrative medicine. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank
Don't
you.
go away, friends. I'll be right back with you.
Hi, I'm Jenny Herbacek with the Cancer Connection. The idea that using antibiotics may increase the risk of cancer was first proposed decades ago, but it didn't really gain traction until about 10 years ago, when studies began to show the connection especially to breast cancer. The mechanism seems to be associated with their ability to undermine our immune system. Antibiotics can promote an overgrowth of bad bugs and fungus in our gut, and the gut is the foundation of the immune system. So use only antibiotics when truly necessary and take care of your immune system so it can take care of you. For Know the Cause, I'm Jenny Herbacek.
You know, if you folks only knew what fun it is, I can't believe I make a paycheck at this. How much fun it is for all of us to come in here and gather as a team and put this show on. We love doing this. By the way, I often wonder why thousands and thousands of people after the show is over watch the show again on Know the Cause. You forward it to your friends. Hey, you got to watch what this guy says about prostate disease, etc. Thank you for being here. Thank you as well to Dr. John Trowbridge, to Dr. Roby Mitchell, to Dr. Lee Cowden, to Nurse Jenny. Isn't that interesting about antibiotics? You've heard that before on Know the Cause. And now you know this, but what about bladder leakage? I hope many of you are saying, you know, that made sense to me. Unlike the heart, there's an opening in the bladder. I really have to study that. Thank you. Thank God for your eyes on the show. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.